Just over 3 months ago, I went to Thailand to try and go all in and build my personal brand, make a full-time online income. I didn't quite make it, and you could say I failed. Now, I was documenting quite a lot of the journey here on YouTube, but I haven't uploaded in quite a long time because I didn't feel worthy. I thought that I'd let everyone down, I'd let myself down. All of this is stupid nonsense and a story I told myself that didn't help anyone. Which is exactly why I'm not waiting until I feel ready to start uploading again. I'm making this video so that I can synthesize all the lessons I've learned and share with you how to rebuild after failure and make an epic comeback, which is exactly the point of this video. This is what I'm doing. I went from beautiful, sunny, tropical Thailand where everything is pleasant, everything is fun, there are so many amazing people to meet, and now I'm back in the UK and I have to rebuild from scratch. It's cold, it's dark, it's full of NPCs who I can't relate to, and I'll be honest, when I came back I felt like a bit of a loser. So that's why you've been hearing this radio silence from me. And I'll be honest, this video is going to be a bit tough to make because I'm going to be publicly exposing my failures and shortcomings, but I think it's important for you to understand the entire picture. So, while I was out in Thailand, I had plenty of opportunities to make it work. I posted daily content. I had an outreach system that I could deploy and actually go forth to people to get clients. I had an opportunity to do appointment setting for quite a large fitness coaching business. And then once I realized or thought that that wasn't the right opportunity, I then jumped on another appointment setting gig for someone that I met in Thailand. And I got sold a bit of a dream for a very, very shoddy, quickly put together shitty offer for ecom done for you services. That I gave up on as well because I again thought it wasn't the right fit. And then in the last few weeks while I was in Thailand, I did a little Hail Mary attempt where I actually went to the gym to try and get in-person clients, and I was told I wasn't allowed to do that. I could have made it work, but I didn't. I didn't do exactly the right steps in exactly the right order with the appropriate amount of intensity and volume. And honestly, there is absolutely nothing in the laws of nature, physics, the universe, whatever you want to call it, that should have prevented me from achieving my goal and staying out in Thailand, not having to come back to the UK. It wasn't Thailand's fault that I failed. It wasn't my social circle's fault that I failed. It wasn't the fault of all the distractions that were out there, the women, the ladyboys. No, it was all my fault. I have to take full responsibility because only then do I have accountability and actual power to change this situation in the future. So I failed, and now I have to rebuild and make an epic comeback, and I want to help you do the same. So, before we proceed, we should first define failure, which is essentially we set an objective and didn't manage to achieve it. Now, we've been absolutely brainwashed to believe that failure was a bad thing, whether it was school, teachers, parents. Growing up in the normal world, we were taught that you can't possibly fail. So now we have this negative connotation of the word, but in reality, it's the opposite. So let's start reprogramming our minds. Because every time we fail, we gather more data. And more data leads to better decisions. And better decisions lead to faster progress. So in essence, the more we fail, the quicker we'll succeed. So, rather than bitching and moaning and feeling sorry for ourselves, let's minimize the time we get down in the dumps after we fail and then move with enthusiasm and vigor onto the next failure. But if we're actually going to learn from it and make it worthwhile, we have to go through the step of analysing without judgment. Now, I want to truly emphasize that without judgment is the key here, because we waste so much time and mental energy beating ourselves up, labeling ourselves a failure, a loser, and just spiraling into an uncontrollable negative loop. So rather than getting emotional about it, let's take a step back, zoom out, take an unbiased and objective look at what led to us failing. So, in the interest of that, let me share with you the lessons that I took away from my experience when I actually look back and try to analyze without judgment, without labeling myself negatively. Before I left, I was working 6 days a week, full-time job, long hours, and I thought to myself that the reason I hadn't yet managed to see success is because I needed more time, I needed more space, I needed more creative freedom, which is why I was so looking forward to going to Thailand. But I quickly discovered that freedom without constraints is just chaos, because once I landed, I had nothing but time. More time leads to more overthinking, more random chaotic experimentation, and more temptation just to flip-flop around and not stick with one coherent strategy for long enough to gather data. And because I had all of this abundance of time, I was always searching for the perfect opportunity, the perfect content system, the perfect offer, the perfect DM strategy, the perfect, sales job to do in the meantime. But let me tell you that the opportunity doesn't matter as much as you think, because you are the deciding factor. Any opportunity can be maximized or squandered depending on what you do with it. And while flip-flopping around, wasting time overthinking and chaotically experimenting, I was still laboring under the delusion that there was some kind of speed run, a shortcut to get where I wanted quicker, and skipping steps. Part of this reason is that I met a few people who seemingly did speed run the process, but the more I think about it, the more suspicious I am. In reality, there is no speedrun and there is no shortcut. There is only the compound effect of consistent daily actions and leveling up your skills. And the compound effect requires both patience and urgency in the right order. You need patience for the results. You need long-term focus on mastery, but you need urgency with execution and actually getting done the work that needs to get done so that you can gather data and get better quicker. However, like I said, the order kept switching. I was a bit too patient with the inputs, but way too urgent with my expectations of what I should gain from it. Now, every single time that I've had a new opportunity or new idea, I was always looking at only the upsides, visualizing the best case scenario, imagining things to be a lot more easy and pleasant than they actually turned out to be. Now, this is the best way to destroy years and years and years of your life, maybe even the rest of your life, because reality never meets expectations and you end up giving up at every single thing you ever try. However, once you visualize how challenging it will be and you actually imagine the dark, the gritty days of despair that is inevitable to come, you won't be disappointed. But on the times where you are enjoying it, on times where you are having a good day, it will be like a pleasant little bonus. The next best way to waste years of your life and just consistently fall off the track is to become a novelty-seeking addict, where you're basically allergic to boredom and just repetition of the same shit day in, day out. Now, this was my ultimate downfall because it seems as though my nervous system is just fucked up and it just loves to swing from high to low without any kind of just steady, calm, composed behavior. They say being bored is a superpower, and I couldn't agree more. Being okay with just stillness without having to have extreme spikes of emotion, it's a great way to live. Another thing that fucking destroyed me, which feeds into all of this, is that I was way too invested in my emotions, because your emotional state truly does control your entire life if you let it. Now, you don't have to listen to your emotions, you know, because thoughts are not real, feelings are imaginary, and you don't have to identify with every single one of your thoughts and feelings like it's your entire, you know, persona. No, they come, they go. You are the observer. You are not your thoughts. Mind control is everything, and it took all of this failure for me to truly understand how important it is, and quite frankly, I'm getting better at it. The next time I go there, I will be a lot more stable, I'll be a lot more centered, because these are skills that I'm practicing in day-to-day life right now. Another thing I learned is that traveling is overrated as fuck. It's essentially just aimlessly drifting around, trying to, again, chase novelty and easy pleasure, but with prettier scenery. This whole enjoying life concept, like real enjoyment, it comes from building something meaningful, putting in some pain and suffering points towards a vision that actually fulfills you. And let me tell you, when you feel like you've earned it, you can enjoy everything 10 times more after you hit your KPIs and made some meaningful progress. Because without it, you can go see the coolest shit, go do the most fun activities, and not be fully present, because there will still be this nagging guilt in the back of your mind that, I could be doing so much more. Flip, I have all of these tasks that I still need to do. Save your pleasure for after pain. You can fail and feel like an absolute G, but you can also fail and feel like a complete worthless loser. And usually this happens when we know that we didn't put in as much effort as we could have. We didn't execute to the best of our abilities and lay it all out on the line. In the back of our mind, no matter what people tell us, you're doing great, you're working hard. Nah, we know, only we truly know the truth, because the world only sees the image we present, and there are very many ways to manipulate that image and overinflate it. Now, this can absolutely destroy our belief in ourselves and make the time from failure to the next failure and then eventually to success take way longer than it has to. So, the next stage of coming back from failure and rebuilding is to rebuild your self-trust. Now, you don't lose all your self-trust through one event. It erodes slowly through thousands of tiny micro decisions that you make on a daily basis. You must go through the day and set about 20 promises, little tiny things, and every single time you break one of them, you chip away slowly at your self-trust. But the way you rebuild it is the same way you lost it. You don't make some massive sweeping declaration to the world that, oh yeah, I'm going to become this guy. I'm going to take on this monumental challenge and complete it. But you rebuild it through the compound effect of tiny micro wins stacking on top of each other. Essentially, the actions that are easy to do, but just as easy not to do. So ask yourself, what's the most basic of promises that I can start keeping every single day to slowly start building back trust? Well, for me, that's set the alarm and keep it. Wake up disgustingly early, way earlier than you feel comfortable, and just completely obliterate the option to snooze. This is the one habit I revert back to whenever I'm in a slump, and it works beautifully. It sets off the chain reaction that helps you start gathering momentum. Beautiful, beautiful momentum. There is no better feeling in life, believe me. And you know this already, because there have been periods of your life where you felt unstoppable. You felt like a battering ram charging through the world, destroying all the obstacles around you, seeing progress and actually enjoying the journey. Because every single day you were stacking wins that were just compounding on each other, making you feel like the man. But after you go through this process where things start to add up, little tiny habits start slipping into each other, and you end up falling off, failing, and losing self-trust. You think back to those momentous days, and it can feel like those times happened to someone completely different. You can't believe that that was you, because now it feels like a ghost of a hollow pipe dream, and you feel like a shell of your former self, a washed up has-been that's reliving your glory days, and there is no worst feeling in the world. Now, this momentum can be gained just like you lost it, but it always comes after a seemingly monumental effort to get back into motion, because the first roadblock is always the hardest. An object at rest stays at rest, and it takes way more energy to overcome inertia, which is exactly why this video right now feels so hard. In reality, it couldn't be easier, because all I'm doing is speaking to a freaking camera and reading some words off a screen, but this perception in my mind is making it way tougher than it has to be, because again, I lost momentum. I let the habit of recording slip, and I have to rebuild. But remember this, there is no such thing as easy or difficult. It's all in our perception, just like I'm demonstrating right now. This perception isn't real. It's all in your head, and we can only feel difficult or easy through comparison and contrast, because what used to feel difficult becomes easy with consistently doing it, and what used to feel easy becomes difficult with consistently not doing it. I recently read a book called The Slight Edge, and it explained this perfectly. Essentially, this is the level we get to in life. You could use this as success and failure. And over time, we do these little micro habits every single day that don't seem to make any difference, or barely any. You can't really notice the progress, and then with enough compound interest, you could say, whoop, we go up, and then we just explode to the astral realm of success or failure. And typically, we just oscillate between these 2 points, which is why a lot of us, You know, the 90% of people, they just live an average mediocre life because they do like a little win, a little habit that improves them, and then they do another habit that degrades them. And none of these habits are immediately noticeable. You don't get immediate benefits from going to the gym or doing a freaking YouTube video. You don't get immediate downsides from smoking a cigarette or eating some shitty food. But the longer you do these habits, the more they can either compound into immense victory or disgusting defeat. Now, if you're like me, you get excited by stuff like this because you're like, yeah, all I need is the perfect routine, the perfect plan, and you make one. You get all excited by the process of thinking about it, of fantasizing how good it will be. But it's impossible to actually make progress on this plan and build that sweet, sweet momentum when you keep making random chaotic changes based on your emotions. Because the perfect plan is the one you stick to through all the ups and downs, through all the boring, difficult shit. But this is easier said than done because I get it. I understand the novelty and the excitement of, oh yeah, this new plan is the one, and you start fantasizing about it. But then you actually get stuck into it and you realize it's going to be harder than you think. And you have to actually keep going no matter the challenges that are presented to you. But let me tell you, once you stop fantasizing about the perfect plan, the incredible results you're going to get from it, and you actually let go of your attachment to the outcome, you can start enjoying the process again, which is the only way to stick to this plan. Set some goals just once so that you know what to shoot for, and then just let go of them. Pretend that it's okay whether or not you get to them. Stop being so obsessed and just want to force things to happen exactly the way you fantasize about it, because that's not the way it's going to go. You might be incredibly disappointed or very, very pleasantly surprised. Either way, the process is all that you actually experience on a daily basis, and it's the only thing that counts. So once you have some goals, you should set some KPIs that you hit that will progress you towards those goals, and you can get so much joy and fulfillment from just hitting those KPIs. So let me give you an example. My goal is to get to 93 kilos body weight with more lean muscle mass, just looking like a jacked and stacked savage, forgetting about my body dysmorphia of always being shredded all the time and just looking fucking bulbous and engorged. I want to feel like a savage, mentally sharp and ready for challenge. And in order to reach that state, my KPIs are to hit all my daily macro and micronutrients that focus on hormone optimization. Now, I want to time those macro and micronutrients to stay mentally clear, not have brain fog, and be able to fuel my performance in training and recover properly. My next KPI is to attempt to add 1 rep to all my exercises every single time I go to train, and I begin each training session with my top priority muscle groups that I want to develop. Notice I said attempt, because you're not always going to be able to add 1 rep or go up in weight, but just the action of trying will make you go to muscular failure and push your sets hard as fuck. This will give my muscles the stimulus to grow and reach 93 kilos of body weight while looking and feeling like a savage. Most important KPI is stick to the plan no matter how boring or difficult. because this has been my biggest downfall. Every single time I've lost the novelty or things got challenging, I would just flip around, change the exercise, change the program, change the diet, or just like slip up, fall off, skip a session entirely, or just eat like shit all day. The next goal of mine is to make a full-time income through a fulfilling, purposeful online business that gives me enough money and freedom to move back to Thailand. And my KPIs to hit that is just one YouTube video like this per week, one short form post, written or Instagram reel per day, and 5 daily Instagram stories per day. And again, the most important KPI is to stick to the plan no matter how boring or difficult it gets. KPIs are not supposed to be the end destination. They are supposed to be set to facilitate momentum. If you try to go all the way in, balls deep, Alex Hormozy, 18 hours a day grind mode, you're going to fail very, very quickly because you have not built the capacity to complete that and stick to it for long enough to get results. The best KPIs always start manageable, things you can actually see yourself sticking to, and then you progressively overload. You increase the KPIs as time goes on, which is exactly why I've set just one YouTube video like this per week, because it will allow me to be consistent for the long term. Now, the goal, the aim is to do more than one video a week, but that's the KPI, that's the bare minimum. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, we're not robots. We're not perfect, we're going to slip up, we're going to fall off track. We're not going to hit our KPIs every single day. That's just the reality of the situation. But the key is to not let one bad day turn into a bad week and a bad month and a bad year and a bad life, because that's the way most people do things. They let one setback just become a tornado of shit. Incorrect. You miss a day, you don't hit your KPIs, you immediately get back on track. You without wasting time feeling down on yourself, beating yourself up, you think, what are the immediate actions I can do to restore momentum again? If you did find this helpful and you do trust me and you need my help with any of this, then click the link below. It's going to take you to my Instagram. You can DM me, we can have a chat to see if it makes any sense to work one-to-one so we can rebuild momentum together.